me to trim again with this stupid thing?
Trim around the side of the office and around the front of that, around that little bit of stuff around that tree right there. If it'll start.
I don't know why you want me to do it on film, because you know it ain't gonna start.
Well.
Woo, fix that thing. Woo, woo.
Time to do major surgery. What am I talking about, guys? Well, if you watched the video that came right before this one, I replaced the carburetor on this machine. This is a STIHL FS 131R. But there's another problem with it. I noticed about, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago, it was starting to develop compression lock. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's when you pull the rope and it goes, you got the thing, your rope in your hand like this, and it goes like that. It feels like it hits a block in the cylinder. And then you have to really, really torque down on it to get it to turn. Well, there's two things that causes that. Number one, the valve's out of adjustment. Number two, the keyway in under the flywheel is trying to shear off. And from everything I read, that doesn't seem to be the problem, because if it does, it won't. If that's the problem, it won't run right, because that's what actually keeps the engine in time. So we're going to adjust the valves today. We're going to take you step by step through how to do that and see if it makes any improvements. If it doesn't, the rest of it is out of my purview. It's got to go in the shop, because I can't keep running it like this and damage something in the long run. So y'all stick around. Now, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to make sure the engine's at top dead center. I have already done that on video. I mean, off camera rather. Duh. But I don't know if it's on the right stroke. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to use this screwdriver as an example. Say this thing right here is the cylinder. Well, that's not long enough. Let's see if this one's long enough. It just barely is. Say you've got your compression stroke, which is when the engine is running, the valve opens up and the inside of the cylinder allows gas and air mixture to go in. Then that valve closes, the piston comes up and compresses it, the spark plug fires, ignites it, it pushes the piston back down, and then it comes up, and as it starts to compress, that's the exhaust stroke. The exhaust valve opens up and allows the spent fuel and air to go out of your muffler. That's what it is. That's why they call this a 4-stroke engine. On a 2-stroke, it fires every time, and the valves are inside of the block. Well, this one has overhead valves, and it's a 4-stroke, meaning it takes 4 strokes of the piston to make 1 revolution. So we're going to get this cap off. We're going to look at it and see what we're dealing with here. Make sure we're on the right stroke. And then if we are, and I'm going to show you how to know you're on the right stroke and how to make sure you're top dead center also. But when you make sure you're on the right stroke, then you can adjust your valves, and I'm going to show you how to do that also. So stick around. Now, what you have to do, let me take my sunglasses off and put my specs on. You have to make sure you are on top dead center, and you do that. You take your spark plug out. Now you can take a screwdriver or whatever you want, and see the piston is at the top of the bore. STIHL, in its infinite brilliance, left us a way to know we're at top dead center, and I'm going to show you that now. It's going to require me to take the camera off. I'm going to see if I can do this without jiggling the camera too much. Now, you see, let me get the camera exactly where I need it to be. You see that bolt right there? That bolt holds the coil on. Well, if you look right down in there, in that little fin, inside them two fins right there, you'll see an arrow. You line that arrow up with that bolt, and that tells you your top dead center. Right there. There's the arrow, and there's the bolt. And that tells you your top dead center. Now that we know we're at top dead center, we've got to find out, make sure we're on the right stroke. Now what does that mean? Well, you got to make sure the stroke of the engine is in the proper position, because if you don't and you adjust the valves, you're going to be adjusting them wrong. So here's how to do that. You take this cap off. This thing is tight. There we go. This is your valve cover. It's got a brass washer, so we need to keep that with this. All right, keep that on the bolt and put the bolt over there. Now you gently remove this cap. You may have to tap it. It should lift off there. There we go. And there's your valves right there. Now, you say, Brian, how do I know I'm on the right stroke? Well, I'm fixing to show you. If you're on the right stroke and you turn that flywheel, neither one of these valves, and good God, they are tight, neither one of these valves should move. So let's test that. The spark plug is out. See that valve moving? That tells me I'm on the wrong stroke. See that? So I'm gonna, for identification, I'm gonna put a mark so I'll know exactly where which one of those fins has the arrow on it. I'm gonna put a mark on it. Then you spin it around. See that valve moving? Did I go past it? I think I did. Yes, I did. Now, you move that thing back and forth. You see them valves ain't moving? That's how you know you're on the right stroke. And then you can adjust your valves accordingly. So, you get that on top dead center. You test it with the, see there? Top dead center. Now, you want to make sure you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And we are. Don't know exactly what size this is, so let's see if it's a 5/16. It is. Before I go any further, I had to do some research. Now you hear me, but you don't see me. I had to do some research, and I found the part of the feeler gauge and the gasket that you need for this. Now, if this gasket is still in good shape, you don't need to replace it. The way you know you need to replace it is, was it leaking before you opened it up? If it was not leaking, it's good. But I ordered this off of Amazon. That's the part number. You can go to Amazon and you can type in STIHL and that part number right there, and this feeler gauge kit will pop up. And that's how you know. Now, I can tell there is no lash in them valves at all. I mean, none. They are tight as a tick. And that's most likely what was causing that thing to, I don't know if my hands are in the camera, when you pull it, it just locks. Because there's not enough lash in these things to take the pressure off the valves in order for you to be able to turn the engine smoothly. And before I go any further, I'm trying to make sure I'm kind of in the camera shot. I went to a STIHL dealership and I took one of these off the shelf, and you could pull it with one hand, no problem. Was it bump, bump, bump? Yeah. But when you go to pull it hard, it pulls smooth as silk. That's how I knew that there was something wrong with this one. Well, something not right. So what you do, you cut your feeler gauge. Let me take my knife because that scissors got something sticky on them. You cut this open. You don't take it out just yet. Now you loosen up your valves. You don't have to loosen them up a lot. Get a little bit. See that one there's still too tight. There we go. Now we got some. Then you take your feeler gauge, and this is a 1/1000th feeler gauge. Oh, there you go. I think that's, yeah. Well, it's upside down. Like that. If it's upside down, guys, just reverse it. But it's really thin on the end. You see that? And you take the feeler gauge and you stick it in there inside, just like that. And then you tighten the valve back down. Now you remember these valves would not move. And you tighten it down gently. Until you got some, just a little bit of resistance. That's actually too tight. Come on. There you go. See, it'll come out, but it'll barely come out. And when I say barely, I mean I had to really put some force behind it to pull it out. But then you tighten it down, still loose. Now it's starting to just barely drag. That's what you want. Now see, I took the wrench off of it and it's too loose. Now let's see what I got. A little bit more. A little bit more. Still too loose. All right. Now see, that's too tight, it won't come out. And you just break it loose. There we go. Now, see, it's scrubbing, but it'll come out. I'm gonna tighten it up just, I mean, ever so slightly. There we go. Let me get this spark plug wire out of the way. That's good. Now let's move on to this one. Now the reason why that thing is shaped like that is because there's fingers on either side of these rocker arms, and that thing fits in between those fingers on the rocker arms. Now you do the same thing here. There we go. Well, wait a minute. Still too loose. And that's too tight. So you just, I mean, when you turn it about that much, there we go. That's good. Now you go back under there. There's a little bit of resistance there. A little bit of resistance there. This one here needs to be tightened up just a tad. Oh, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, that's it. Now, see, now there's a little bit of movement in them things where there was none before. Hardly any at all. Now we know the valves are adjusted properly. So, you say, Brian, what if I don't have a feeler gauge? Well, There's a very easy way to adjust them when you don't have one. You tighten down, I'm not going to do it, but you tighten down the valves until there just is no movement on both valves. Then you keep bumping it a little bit at a time until you get just a slight bit of movement in it, and you stop. That's how you know your valves are adjusted properly. So I'm going to put the cap back on. You always want to make sure your cap, there you go, now it's sitting right. Cap goes on correctly, you screw it down. And this has to be tight because if you don't, oil will leak out there. Now, we put the spark plug back on, or back in rather. And the reason I'm putting the spark plug back in is because it needs compression in order to be a true test. I am not going to test this thing. I'm going to get Nate out here. He's in there doing some Lego building in the office. I'm going to put this thing back together completely, and I'm going to let him pull it for himself and see if it's any easier to pull, because I don't want, my opinion, if you saw the clip at the very beginning of this video, we get hurt near about every time we tried to crank this thing because there was so much compression and it had nowhere to go because the valves were out of adjustment, and they were out of adjustment. All right, prime it. Make sure it's going to prime. It's got a brand new carburetor on it. The valves have been adjusted. Huh?
There it goes.
All right, choke it and see how easy it is to pull and everything compared to what it was earlier. I'd say it's easier.
Oh yeah.
All right, take the choke off. Take the choke off.
I thought I did.
Ho, stop. Choke it and then hit the accelerator. Okay, something ain't working. That thing's supposed to pop free. All right, y'all, I think I got it. It was flooded. It was flooded bad. It's not Nate's fault. He didn't know that the choke had not come off. But what I did, I took the spark plug out and I pulled the rope about 20 times to evacuate all the gas fumes. And then I left it open to let it dry. And I took a heat gun and I heated up the spark plug to evaporate the gas on it. Put it back in there and it popped off. So I'm not gonna put the spark plug cover back on it just in case. But I am gonna button down everything else, and then we're gonna pull it and see what we got. We got a special guest behind the camera though. She's sitting in the swing. Say hey, Flossie.
Hey, Flossie.
All right, guys. Cross your fingers. Ah, look at that. Yeah, buddy. I think it's safe to put this back on. This is your spark plug and your valve cover, protection cover. I guys, I am amazed at how valves being out of adjustment can make an engine hard to start. But look at this. I mean, I'm sure if you go back on some of my videos, let me sit down. I'm sure if you go back on some of my videos, you'll see how hard this thing was to crank. And I don't mean hard to start, I mean hard to pull. And as my daddy used to say, hard to spin over. But now I'm sitting down, look. I mean, I can pull it. I mean, yeah, there's compression there, but it's not kicking back and near about. And Flossie will tell you, she's sitting right behind the camera, she'll tell you, I come home every day with my wrist hurt. And so does Nate. And you saw what happened with Nate at the beginning of the video. So the valves being even slightly out of adjustment can cause major problems. I'm just glad that the keyway in the shaft is not messed up to where you can't run it. So anyway, that's going to do it. That is the carburetor and the valve adjustment. Until we meet again, guys, this is Brian with Big South Outdoors TV, reminding you to live big, live southern, and live outdoors. Until we meet again, folks, have a good one.